Well, wait a minute. I thought the Supreme Court said President Trump can't do what he's been doing with tariffs.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court struck down Trump's previous use of international tariffs based on one particular law, the International Economic Emergencies Act. But Trump administration ever since has been looking at different means to impose the same tariffs or similar tariffs. And he does have a lot of different powers to impose them, as we saw recently with this Canadian tariff announcement. The U.S. Congress has given the president power to impose tariffs for discriminatory practices, for forced labor, for their own duties against American goods. So the Trump administration has been looking at the whole range of that. And when it looks like their most recent tariffs are about to expire, they're looking at imposing these new range of tariffs against other countries.
Now, Alan, according to the Office of the United States Trade Representative, last year we have a $46.4 billion trade deficit with Canada. Now, obviously, we're a bigger country. We got more people. We consume more. But how do you square that up? Should it be that high?
Well, ideally, we would just have reciprocal trade, sort of mirror image trade. What we're doing with Canada is being done under Section 338, which is foreign discrimination against U.S. commerce. So that's the provision that Trump is relying on here. As Judge mentioned, the IEPA was struck down in learning resources, so he doesn't have that at his disposal. It's the Section 122, that expires on Friday. And that's sort of the blanket 10% tariffs that we're seeing. And he's imposing Section 301 tariffs against Brazil. So we're dealing with different tariff provisions here. The important thing to point out is that the tariffs that are against Brazil, they take effect today. Canada's wouldn't take effect until August. And so there's time. August 19th. So there's plenty of time to negotiate. I think the president is trying to use this as a negotiation tool to achieve some sort of trade deal with Canada.
Judge, how do you think all of this will play with the American people leading up to the midterms? Obviously, there has to be some tactical thinking here going on for the president.
Well, I think, as Alan said, I think the main hope for the president's team is to use these tariffs both on Canada and on Brazil and, frankly, on the other nations to secure new negotiations and new deals. But I think the administration does understand that, at least in the short term, there are some costs to that, especially to cost of living issues. And that remains the number one issue in American politics. And this team knows that, again, most especially in the short run, raising tariffs is going to raise the price of some goods. They're hoping that, at least to some extent, they can use those tariffs both to raise revenue and to secure new deals with these other countries. But as the election approaches, it becomes an increasingly dicey deal for the administration.
Alan, kind of same question to you. What do you think the appetite for the American people is now? I will preface that with that Donald Trump did campaign heavily on, I'm going to do this. I'm going to reset trade. I want to bring back manufacturing into the United States. You could kind of almost look at this as like a return to the core central campaign mission that was initially put on by the president.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that the trade deals get negotiated quickly and that we don't see some of the effects of tariffs kick in that will kick in if we do it long term, because they will act as a tax on imports, and that'll raise the cost of goods and it'll distort market prices. You'll get retaliation and trade wars. And given the energy costs that have gone up since the Iran conflict, these would all be bad things. And I don't think the American people would like them very much. So hopefully the president's tactic works out and we are able to negotiate some trade deals quickly, and we won't see the rising costs that we can expect over the long term if the tariffs stay in place for the long term.
Yeah, cost of living, definitely a big issue that everybody is concerned about. Alan Mendenhall, Judge Glock, thanks.